Hello and welcome to the sixth video in this series. This one we're going to start off basically where we left off in the last video. If you remember, we produced this graph looking at how confident males and females were when it comes to using Excel. And if we look at it, we saw that in the graph we've got 7 males and 7 females as confident. But when we look at the totals, we've actually got 15 females and 10 males. So 7 males out of 10 are confident, whereas 7 females out of 15, which is obviously not quite the true picture if you just look at this graph here. So what do we need to do? We basically need to take it one step further and look at percentages, and that essentially is what I'm going to do. I've got my codebook open just in case I need it. But the first thing I'm going to do actually is just move this out of the way. The spreadsheet is exactly the same as we finished with the last one. I've retitled it. The data is still there. So here we are. So what am I going to do? Well, if you think about a percentage, what is a percentage? It's the number of things that out of the total multiplied by 100. So I need to do a little bit of maths on this. And I'm going to basically do a little bit of work on this table, produce another table, and then produce another graph. So the first thing I'm going to do, actually looking at this table, I want to put my totals for males, females and declines in column N, but I've got this unconfident hanging over the edge of column M. So I'm going to move my cursor up to the very top, and you see there where it starts to highlight the different columns, it changes into a little down arrow, and when I move it onto the border between the M and the N columns, it changes into that little, well, it's almost a cross with a little arrow on, and I'm just going to double click on the left mouse button with that, and you see it widens it out. I'm then going to put in here a new heading, total, so that I know what it is, and then I'm simply going to add up these and take it from there. So I'm going to use the auto sum function, which adds those up, and press enter, and I'm going to use the auto sum function there, and I'm going to add that up and use that from there. And I could use the auto sum function here, but just be careful sometimes because Excel plays little tricks on you. That's not what I want. You see, it's adding those two figures up. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to clear the cell completely by pressing the escape button. I'm going to come up here to that, and I'm going to use the little drag down option like that, which we did earlier to fill the cells. So 10, yes, 7, 2 and 1, 7, 4 and 4 is 15, 1 and 2 is 3. So there's my total number. So now what I need to do is I now need to make up a new table that has the percentages. So I mean 7 out of 10, we know that's 70%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a new table, produce a new table down here. So I'm just going to copy my headings down here using the copy and paste facility, and I'm going to produce a new table down here. I don't need the totals column, and I'm just going to do that. So here I have my males. So it's just a case of doing some simple maths using the Excel's maths function. So it's equals anything that you want to put in a cell other than a direct entry of a text or a number starts off with equals. I want to put in, now if you think about this, what I want to do is I want to divide that 7 by 10 and then multiply it by 100 to get my percentage. So, thinking about the rules of arithmetic, I think I better put that 7 divided by 10 in brackets so that it's done first and then multiplied by 10. So, open brackets, click on the cell with 7 in, which in this case I think is K4, K5, then divide by, which is the backward slash, and then click on the cell that's got my total in, the 10, which is N5, close brackets, and then simply type in times 100, times as the star button, 100, and press enter. And there I've got my 70%. And I could just type in the same for all of those cells, but I think what I'll try is I'll just try the $ up here first and just see what actually happens if I try the $. So I've put my $signs in, I've still got my 70 up there, and if I copy, drag down like that, I've still got 70. So it's not quite working right, is it? So we can't use that on this occasion. We're going to have to basically go through and quickly do each cell. It doesn't take too long, it's just a little bit fiddly. So it's equals that divided by the total times 100. Whoops, that's minus 100, not what we want. 20%, which you can see is right, equals that times 100, that divided by the total times 100. And this won't take me too long to do, it's not particularly difficult. No, that's got the plus sign in, we equals, no, what's going on here? There we go, equals, I've got my shift lock on, that divided by that times 100, and we'll then go to this one here, equals that divided by that close brackets times 100. Yep, so it's all coming together nicely. Equals that bracket times that divided by that close bracket times 100. Nearly there, just a few more to do. Equals open brackets that divided by the total close brackets times 100, and then this one here, last one, because we know what the answer is going to be. Whoops, that's the wrong cell altogether, so it is possible to make mistakes. That divided by that close brackets times 100, and there we have that. Now obviously this is just going to be 0, it's 0%, so we've now got our percentages, and it is literally just a case of highlighting them and producing the table. Insert recommended charts, and I think we'll do this one, and when we click on that, and we'll just do a quick change so that it actually looks similar to the other one. You can see now that what we can actually see is the percentage is actually a little bit less, so that it perhaps represents a truer picture of what is going on, in that this one seems to indicate that we've kind of got the same confidence between males and females, whereas this one indicates that actually when you take into account that there are more females than males, females are actually less confident by gender. Whether or not that's true in real life, I don't know. It could be the other way around. I've just set it up so that that is the way it is. So I'm going to rename this one Percentage Confidence by Gender. And I'm going to put in an axis title as well on this left hand side, so that we know that this is a percentage. And I'm going to remove that the same as I've done for the other one, and there you go, you've got a chart. Obviously you can play around with that a little bit more if you wish, but that just to my mind represents a better picture of the true situation than just straightforward numbers. As I say, I've set it up literally so males are more confident than females. It could actually be just as easily the other way around, so please don't read anything into that. Thank you very much. That's the end of this video.